We're now going to get our robot to move. So to do that, we go over on the left and we choose the movement tile and drag that onto our program space. The movement tile has a range of options down the bottom. The first one, where it says port, is actually talking about which port on the robot the two motors are plugged into. Now, you shouldn't need to change this if we've built our robots right. And this case it's indicating that we've got those motors into port B and C, but normally you won't need to change this. The next one is the direction, so forward, backwards, and we can choose that so the robot can move forwards, or if we click over here it'll move backwards. The next thing is the steering, and in the center like it is now it's going to go straight, and if we curl across to the right it's going to turn right, and curl across to the left it will turn left. The thing to note, if you want it to turn really tight you'd be all the way over, or if you wanted to just do a gradual turn you'd be nearer towards the middle. I'm going to leave it going straight. Now we get to also set the power level. Now if you're like me, you want to go flat out as fast as you can to get there, but some of the things you're going to want to program will need a bit more control, so in which case you could actually slow it down a bit. So that's the power. And then this is the main thing we need to set. How long would we like our robot to move for? So in this case its duration is in rotations. Now that's rotations of the wheel. So a full rotation of the wheel would be one rotation. Now that's probably only going to move our robot 10 centimeters or something, whatever the circumference of our tires is. So there's a little bit of trial and error. If you said I want my robot to move a meter, you'd have to figure out how many rotations that is. It might be something like 7. And so there's a bit of learning in terms of figuring out how far you want it to go. So that's rotations. Now you could put that onto unlimited, in which case it will just go until you tell it to stop. Or you could choose degrees, which would be, for instance, 360 degrees would be a full rotation. Or alternatively, you could choose for seconds, and so you could say I want the robot to move forwards at 90% power for 3 seconds. So you get some choice here. And then the last thing tells you is once it's done that, do you want the robot to actually stop dead, which would be to brake, or do you want it to coast, which is going to just kind of roll a little bit and stop naturally when it does. And look, setting it to coast is nicer for the robot motors, but sometimes you actually want it to stop and then execute the next part of your program. It'll be more fluid if we select coast. So that's all about the movement tile, and that's one of the main tiles we'll use.